I mean, even his first heat today, unbelievable who he was up against. A couple of real powerhouses, guys who have a lot more size than him. But let's look back on what he was able to do early on. Didn't matter if we were here on the bowl, over at Winky, he looked threatening every time he got up. We
all had this discussion, you know, in talks of power, and generally it's going to be easy to showcase the guys that are tall, heavier, and this guy is a slight in build, but he's strong. But his technique is impeccable, and that's why he looks so good in these big open carvers. He's got a lot of variety, and his knowledge in a heat, his wave choice, all of that stuff has really showcased his talent beyond just riding the board.
If you didn't know Caio Ibelli and you just watched his surfing, you'd swear he's about 6 foot tall. You know, I think his approach, as you said, just those big swooping lines, the ability to hold that board on the rail in these big tricky conditions, and you know, that smart approach, as you said, Pete, is he's going to go a long way, this kid. Rookie of the year last year, and that was no mistake, let me tell you.
He did have to fight his way out of the second round. He got a jump on Ian Gouveia there, but kept coming up against these really highly regarded power surfers, guys like Michel Perez, who he got the jump on over at Winky.
I mean, and I think a lot of it, too, is that if you look at his equipment, he is spot on. And the choices he's making as far as equipment, and it's not like he's sticking with one design. He's moving it around. He's going to, you know, boards from Hawaii, and he's been able to he's just been cherry picking his quiver, and it's sitting in this bag of just all these magic sleds, and that's so comfortable as a professional surfer to have such good boards on your feet.
Yeah, I mean, it's that, you know, obviously the tool of the trade. I mean, you know, it's the archer, not the arrow most of the time. But if you're on a good board, it's going to take you a lot further than if you're on an average board. But Caio just proven that you know, he's here to stay. He's going to be around for a long time, and he's going to be a tough one to beat. And you know, you look at guys that you know, this first heat in the morning, you know, up against Frederico Moraes and Owen Wright. I mean, he served bigger than both those guys.
Definitely, yeah. Early on in that heat, he kind of struggled to get a number of substance, and you kind of thought, wow, Caio's surfing so well, and he's just not getting the credit he deserves. He took his surfing to another place to get the jump, made it straight through to the quarterfinals, came up against Frederico Moraes, and head-to-head you're thinking, well, this is going to be a really tough one for Caio, because Frederico's been laying down those big tracks. But I just think he looked a little bit more committed. He almost looked like he was putting more rail in the water than the big Portuguese surfer.
Well, I think it's one time that you think he's that smaller, slight build, that he's not going to have the same amount of power as those bigger guys. But then once you put him in the heat together, it was distinct. It was completely showcased by his ability. And of course, he's been able to show some flair. You know, this is where I think this final is going to come down to fitness and who's going to have the most juice, because you know, they saying that they're not tired, but they have to be fatigued. It's been a long day. It's been wild, and it's solid. You know, you're pushing everything in every turn. It's going to be unique. I love this final setup.
We know that Caio snatched a heat win from Geordie Smith in the third round here last year, and I just didn't see it happening again. The surfing that John has been doing during this Australian leg has been really second to none. But this kid, he just kept his cool. John made a bit of a mistake at the end of this heat. He gave Caio an opportunity, and he surfed this last ride very well to get the number he needed.
Yeah, but you know, it was the last roll of the dice for both of them, and Caio made John commit to that wave. He was a little deeper, and a smart move there from Caio. You know, he's kind of turning out to be John's kryptonite. You know, it's, and made him go, made him commit to that wave, and then the next one had that opportunity and came through. But you know, it wasn't one of the bigger waves. He needed to surf that thing to death, and he did that.
Straight away when he got to the top of the stairs, everyone in his camp, Tom Whitaker, who's been doing some work with him, I could see them just trying to cap his emotions, just trying to keep a lid on it, because he's got this big opportunity now. Could be just the second Brazilian ever to ring the Big Bells trophy. And here he is heading out for the final.
Bunch of e-brakes around him, right? Just slow down. You got still more to go here, you know. And that was a big win, right? And you don't want that emotion to come out too much. Keep it inside. Keep it flowing through the blood.